From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And I am ready to go ahead and talk to you guys about some great stuff going on in the sports world today. We got so much going on in the sports world as well, too. Big sadness last night, though, in Los Angeles, man. The Lakers did get put out last night. They did get swept officially by the They officially got swept by the Nuggets last night. Nuggets beat them 113-111 last night. Jokic was able to get another triple double last night as well too. So, just a lot of things just did not go in the favor of the Lakers last night. And as usual, season ends and the first person that they're thinking about is LeBron. They want to make sure that they let him know that he got swept again and, let him know that he's not Michael Jordan again. Let him know that, they just don't really like the fact that he's held the NBA up the last 15 fucking years. But, it's all good, man, because really at the end of the day, they won't appreciate LeBron until he's gone. And LeBron kind of hinted at it last night that this might be over. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he's almost 40. He'll be 39 at the end of the year. On December 30th, he'll be 39 years old, dude. We were born in the same year, 1984. I know for a fact that I wake up in the morning and some days I feel 60. So I don't know how LeBron James will feel playing at the highest level of playing at basketball and still be able to be functional. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he was very tired after every single game. A lot of people really weren't realizing how tired LeBron was. LeBron finally looked like an old person, an old man in the NBA. His energy is not the same anymore. Last night, he did something very uncharacteristic. He put his elbow in Aaron Gordon's throat, and he just was, LeBron was pissed last night. He really wanted to get some help from his guys. And with LeBron playing so good, everybody turned into spectators again. So, how much longer does he want to do this? And how much longer do we need to really sit up in here and play this Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, who's the best, who's the legendary, who's all this, that, and the third? Let me give you guys some good game. When they talk about you in the first name basis, you're a legend. They never just say, oh, Mr. James or LeBron James. It's always LeBron. On some first name, we act like we know exactly who you are, like we grew up with you, because we basically did. We've known LeBron pretty much half of his life, and I think that a lot of people really do not understand how great of a journey this has been for one man. And he's literally the epitome of the creative player that we all used to create when we were youngsters playing NBA Live and NBA 2K and all those games when we were playing all that good stuff. So, at the end of the day, we have to appreciate the guys like LeBron James, because without him, the NBA would be really, really not fun to watch at all. He is the story of the NBA. And people had to just really understand that you can't keep putting him in a box with Michael Jordan, because him and Michael Jordan aren't the same person. Michael Jordan is from an era that brought in the big money to the NBA. He was absolutely somebody who was rewarded from the hard work that was put in by Bird and Magic to get the league to where it needed to be. And Michael Jordan was able to take that and take it to the next level. Allen Iverson does the next thing. He goes ahead and takes it to another level. Kobe Bryant takes it to another level. And I'm not talking about gameplay. I'm talking about the personalities that these fellas are. Shaquille O'Neal, all these guys, man. And these guys have shaped and molded this game over the last 40 years. And I think that everybody needs to give big thanks. And LeBron's a part of that group as well, too. And I just think that we need to really appreciate what we have in front of us while it's still here. You know what I mean? So pretty much last night, the Lakers did exactly what teams who pretty much are the 7 seeds do. They got swept. The Lakers had a great run. They were able to get a monster upset over the Grizzlies because at the end of the day, it didn't matter. That was an upset. Beating the Warriors, I think that was really more of the Lakers' championship. I know that I felt so good after they beat the Warriors. As I said, there's no other team that I would rather beat in a playoff series than the Warriors because I felt like it had to be a moment in time where the Lakers and Warriors faced off and really had to kind of show who is in charge of this situation right here. And it showed that the Lakers are. And I think that at the end of the day, the familiar faces are starting to fade, and people have to just really understand that part. I want to go ahead and end it with this, that Jokic and crew are an absolutely amazing team. I've told you guys this all year long. You never heard me say, oh, I don't think that they'll be good enough. I think they're a bunch of overachievers. I think da-da-da-da-da. No, I felt like this team was the most consistent team in the Western Conference and that they would be really tough to beat because this team doesn't rely on stars. This team just relies on winning, it relies on playing great basketball and playing as a unit, playing as a team, playing with mass chemistry. And the thing is about this team is they had an 11-point deficit, came back from it. Had a 15-point deficit last night, came back from it. So, the Lakers were able to put teams away when they were able to get up double digits in the playoffs, but it just wasn't working with the team like Denver because Denver got all the answers. And Denver is a team that plays so well together that they don't have issues coming back because they're ready to come back in a game. They just don't quit playing. And I just kept saying it as I was watching the series unfold. It's the Lakers are doing the best possible. They're doing the best they possibly can. The Nuggets are just better. It's just that simple. Everything that the Lakers do, the Nuggets just do a little bit better. And I felt that, with the idea that you have the most selfless superstar in basketball in Jokic, and then you have a guy in Jamal Murray who can get hotter than it, who can really take over basketball games. You don't have the lead man and the sidekick. There's no such thing as that. You have 1A and 1B. You have Kobe and Shaq type power when you have these two. You know what I mean? They might not be the same caliber of athlete that Kobe and Shaq were, but they do have the same makings of what they were in a sense, but they're even better because they don't have the little brother, big brother thing going on. They have they have more of a great business relationship, and you can see it on the court. So much props to the Denver Nuggets, the Western Conference champions, who are rightfully the Western Conference champions. And this is coming from a Laker lifer. And I just think that the Lakers did us a favor by making an effort to make it such a great playoff run this year. And you don't sit here and you blame LeBron. You don't sit here and blame AD. You don't sit here and blame him. You sit up and you actually applaud these guys for making it this far. This really could have ended after going 2-10 this year. They could have said, you know what, we're going to tank. We're going to be a bad team. We're going to try to go get one of these potential stars for down the road, and we'll start this process of building through with a bunch of college players for the next few years. No. The Lakers realized that it's rings or bust in Los Angeles, and they took full advantage of LeBron James. They took full advantage of Anthony Davis, and they made sure that they made the right moves to get these guys in position to be a functional team at the end of the year, and that's exactly the only thing you could ask for. This is much better than it looked the first 6 weeks of the season. Let's just keep it real. So pretty much Lakers, all in all, it is a bust of a season because it's always ring or bust in Lakerland. But at the end of the day, this is one of the better efforts from the Lakers that I've seen when you had a bunch of turmoil and a bunch of controversy to start the year off. I would say this might have been one of the most trying years for LeBron James, but it might have been one of the more gratifying years for LeBron James because he finally saw that teammates really do appreciate having him on their team. And I think that this Laker team was very appreciative of him. And that's why I say, no reason to break this group up. Just let them gel. That's it. And to the Lakers, great season, but we all got to move on. And once again, congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. And I look forward to watching them in the NBA Finals as well, too. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward and talk about our next topic in hand, and that's going to be tonight's game, and that's going to be between the Celtics, the number 2 seed, who's down 0-3 in the series. The Heat holding a 3-0 lead at this point. We have a 1.5 point spread. Finally, the Heat are the favorite for this game. Over under of 216.5, which is actually moved up to 217 as we speak. So this is going to be a pretty good game today. Hello, Connor. How you doing? How's everything going, brother? Good to have you here with us today. Tomorrow I'll be with Jeff, hopefully, if everything works out. So you guys be on the lookout for that. 10:30 my time. I'll be on the midday report with the Don of Cape Cod. But right now, let's go ahead and talk some Boston and talk some Heat real quick. And pretty much tonight we have it to where this is going to be the Heat's last stand. I'm not the Heat's last stand. I mean the Celtics' last stand. This is actually like really something that we all have to look at and say to ourselves that, you know, this is a bigger fail than the Lakers because they're the number 2 seed. Okay. They weren't supposed to let the Heat stick around like this. They weren't even supposed to like literally, you know, have issues with the Heat because everybody felt like they were playing probably the easiest team in the group. They never were playing the easiest team in the group. This team took them. It was life and death last year when the Celtics and the Heat played each other in the conference finals. I mentioned this on my show the moment that the series was set, that this was never going to be an easy task for the Boston Celtics. This wasn't going to be something where it was going to be a walk in the park. And then when you looked at who the 2 coaches actually are at this moment, you know that Spoelstra is a titan compared to what Joe Mazzulla is. Joe Mazzulla is still learning how to be a coach in the NBA. Eric Spoelstra's been at this thing for, if you count being a video assistant, he's been at this thing for 30 years. So his approach to the game is far different than Mazzulla's. Mazzulla is depending on the talent that he has with Jason Tatum and with Jaylen Brown, with Marcus Smart, with the idea that these guys have been here, done that, and that they are a team that can literally damn near coach themselves. All I got to do is just set the moving parts, you know what I mean? And then you have Al Horford, the good old veteran, the guy that knows how to get to his teammates. Even though Al Horford has never won an NBA championship, he does have back-to-back NCAA championships, so he does understand winning. So pretty much everything seemed to point to the Boston Celtics having a great series. But Jimmy Butler has played out of his damn mind this playoff, and he's really, as Michael Jordan kept saying in The Last Dance, he's taking it very personal this year. So I think that tonight the Heat will probably have their coronation game, a nice sweep of the Boston Celtics, who I felt quit. Like literally, let's keep it real. By the time we got to the second half, this team was very uninterested in winning any basketball games. It was like they already knew that it doesn't matter what we do, this team is going to match it. And that's exactly what the Heat have done. The Heat have been in positions where, you know what, they could have just thrown the towel and just let it be. But they showed all of us in game 2 that they know that they can't fall back. They can't sit back. They can't do little things that will lose you this series. They know that. They have to do everything in an uptight fashion, in a sense, you know what I mean? In an urgent fashion. And the Celtics just don't get it. That's the thing. You have a team that's just playing with a different energy, a different mind state. The Celtics are playing entitled. They feel like that they're supposed to win this game because they're the Celtics and they're the 2 seed. And they got Jaylen and Jason, seen as one of the best duos in basketball. But none of it's working because these guys are so out of touch on what their end goal truly is. You know what I mean? And it's to win a championship. I think that it's just too much ego in that room. And as I told you guys before, a little birdie has jumped on my shoulder and told me that Jaylen Brown is gone. out of Boston. So do you think that his effort might be affected because he's not as interested in playing for this franchise anymore? And do you think that Jason Tatum is just a guy that just can't handle pressure in the biggest moments of his career? It's just a lot of questions that you have about the Boston Celtics. And I think that the Boston Celtics will be a team that's going to have a lot of renovations come this summer. And I think the first thing that's going to go is, honestly, is, I hate to say it, Joe Mazzulla did get an extension and everything like that, but I think he's gone, to be honest with you. And I think, and I'm going to just be a little crazy right now, but I think that when you look at it, the Boston Celtics might be really thinking about bringing back Doc Rivers, straight up, because Doc Rivers is probably the only coach that can help this situation. And Doc Rivers is more comfortable in Boston than he's ever been anywhere else. So I would say that possibly you might want to bring back your old coach, the guy that helped you win a championship the last time out, because you have the same type of team that won a championship with him. So it would be great to bring him back. So pretty much with that, tonight, I see this game being a much closer than game 3. But I still think that the Heat will have enough at the end of the day to go ahead and pull off the sweep. But I'm just going to say this, and it's going to sound crazy today, but we can bookmark it today as well, too. If the Celtics win this game tonight, they'll win the next game in Boston as well, too. And then everything's a toss-up after that. So the Heat really do need to take care of their business and win this game tonight to avoid any extra time left in this series. The NBA would love for this series to get extended, but the Heat don't want to get this series extended because this still is a series that you say to yourself that if there's 1 or 2 mistakes made, this could be history. We'll see how it goes, but the Heat will have to step it up tonight and play this game like they're the team that's down 0-3, in my opinion. And that's how they can go ahead and win this game. But I have more bets for you with Talkin Tickets once we get to that portion of the show. So let's go ahead and jump into some quick hitters real quick before we go to our break. We have the NFL approving the flex schedule for Thursday night football. Is this good or bad for the product? In my opinion, it's terrible for the product. Not even bad, it's terrible for the product. Because what you're doing is that you're going to try to put some of the bigger games on Thursday night football, knowing that these games need to really have a bigger, significant audience that might not want to deal with the bad streaming of Prime Video. Prime Video did a good job last season of buying games that were uninteresting on Sundays. Let's keep it real. Not uninteresting games on Sunday, all in all, but games that would typically wind up on the Thursday night football. You know what I mean? Like Steelers-Browns was a good game for you to get ratings because that's a monster rivalry. Rams-Raiders, that was great because that was LA versus Vegas. Raiders are really LA's team at the end of the day. But you look at the way that they set up the other games, they were absolutely atrocious. Those games were it looked like they would be good matchups, but those games wound up being really bad because these teams weren't prepared as they would want to be. I really don't even like the idea of Thursday night football. I think that Thursday night football is more of a thing that you should do late in the season. You know what I mean? Like maybe the last 6 weeks of the season, you go ahead, you do some Thursday night games. You don't have to do a whole season of them, in my opinion, because Monday Night Football is already the extra day for football. And I feel like you're kind of stepping on toes a little bit already with Thursday Night Football because you have college football on Thursday night as well too. And I think the college football games are a little bit better on Thursday night because a lot of times those games feature certain conferences that we don't get to see every weekend, but we get to know some pretty good players because everybody thinks that they're a scout for the draft as well too. So I think that you can't give us too much. You know what I mean? I think that they're going to try their hardest to take really great games off Sunday's schedule to put on Thursday. And TNF is an option. It's not something that us fans are forcing ourselves to watch because the stream is just terrible at the end of the day. I watched games where it was already in halftime, and the stream is saying that the game is in the first quarter. So, there's just a lot of things that tell me that the NFL is just getting way too greedy. And I understand that you want to make sure you maximize every dollar. You want to make as much money as possible so then you can keep paying everybody these astronomical contracts and paying for all this stuff and making sure everybody's taken care of. That's your personnel for these franchises and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, you could be killing your product because you're just doing too much. As Dave Gavitt said to the old to the coaches of the Big East before they lost their minds and broke the Big East up, years before he passed away. But he told them they would always offer the house to Dave Gavitt. He would just take enough. And he told them, boys, don't take he said, we know we're doing too much when we start taking the chandeliers. And everybody really has to understand that you got to just take what they offering, but don't try to take the whole room with you, because then now you have too much going on. And when you got too much going on, you can kill your product, man. And I think that the NFL will really have to figure out what their plan is with Thursday night football going forward. Most teams don't like it, okay, because it gives them no time to really prepare. It just gives them time to go ahead and have another game. And they're putting their best players at risk every week when there's an idea of you playing a Thursday night football game. Does the NFL want their stars to be healthy, or do you guys want to keep making a quick buck on a Thursday night football game that people will see the final score of before they even get to halftime? So you got to make it make sense. And I think that the NFL right now is really on a thin line when it comes to how much that they're putting out, how available they are to hand over so many broadcasts to just any random network. And I think that these networks need to be more in tune with being able to actually produce the product than buying this up, because really you can't run like a million streams at once. And it's a lot of people don't really know that. You know what I mean? Like it's tough to run a stream and have 25 million people watching the game at once. You know what I mean? It's much better on broadcast television. So we'll see how this works out. It's probably going to be something that a lot of people probably will love after a while. But I would say this: you take the most irrelevant games on Sundays, and that's what you flex in the Thursday night football. A game you feel that probably wouldn't get the same attention on Sunday that it would on a Thursday. You know what I mean? So there it is with that. Let's go ahead and talk our final topic, and that's going to be the Rams, who have kind of became our in-house team to cover. I'm not a Rams fan, but we are in Los Angeles. And it's not about being a fan. It's just about me covering a local team, because, I talk Raiders and Browns as well, too. But I talk everybody in the NFL. You know that. But we have local teams as well. And if I have to cover a team, I'm over here working on the credentials to cover the Chargers, because the Chargers are nice and low key. And they're a team that doesn't get a lot of people wanting to cover the Chargers. And they're one of the more exciting teams in football. And I just know that they have a lot of everybody got some bad taste in their mouth because the owner and all this stuff. But I think that this team is really ready to overcome all that. And LA has been a big boost to this club as well, too. So we'll see how it shapes up. But the Chargers start OTAs with everybody reporting to camp. What type of team do we expect in the fall? The Chargers are going to be a fast and aggressive team, in my opinion. And I think that Khalil Mack and Bosa being able to get through training camp healthy. And I say don't even play him during the preseason. You don't need to do anything in that regard. Maybe play him a snap or two. But I think that Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, if they can be healthy 80% of the season, this can be the best defense in football. They've already went ahead and loaded up in the DB room. They also have Derwin James, one of the best safeties in all of football as well, too. So their biggest need is to make sure that defensive side of the ball is in check. I think that was the biggest Achilles heel for this team, because what happened is that they literally lost the playoff game because the defense went to sleep. They were up 27-0. They had 5 interceptions by the half. And I think that they got a little cute, and I think they got a little too comfortable and found themselves losing that football game. So they've learned a lot since that point. I thought the best thing that they did was keep Staley as the coach, because everybody wanted Staley out. They wanted Staley fired. They wanted him just remove him from being the head coach of the team. No, you don't remove a guy from being the head coach of the team when he took all the right steps. Okay, they missed the playoffs the year before because you didn't think about it, and you called a timeout. The Raiders wound up kicking a field goal instead of doing a tie to where both of you guys could have got in. That was kind of spiteful because the Raiders just wanted to get the Chargers out the playoffs. And their coach knew that. I mean, the Raiders could lie and say that, oh, we would have went for the tie, but then they call a timeout, so we just got pissed about it and kicked the field goal. No, you were going to kick a field goal the whole time. The Raiders wanted to win the game, okay? So, then last year you were able to get in the playoffs. You secured the playoffs because you won games at the end of the season. I feel like this team it's taken a while for them to get to where they needed to get. But in Herbert's 3 seasons, he's been at the verge of making the playoffs. Third season's a charm. This year will possibly be the year where they get a bye in the playoffs as well, too. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, this division is not entitled to the Chiefs at all. And I think if any team is in the position to knock off one of these so-called elite teams in the NFL in a division, I think the Chargers are about ready to knock off the Chiefs this season. The Chiefs have been on an ultimate high the last 5 seasons with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. And at some point, that ultimate high is going to have to come crashing down quickly. And I don't think that it would be the end of of an era or anything like that. It's just that sometimes these teams need to have a season where the reality check comes in that you're not going to be the wonder of the NFL every year. I feel like last year they had a lot to prove. They had a chip on their shoulder. This year they have a big target on their back. And do they have those primetime players that can step up? Because you got Kelsey. You got Mahomes, but can the other guys do it? Because they've lost Juju Schuster, and they still got Pacheco, but they're still over here having, they still want to have 6 other running backs there as well too. So, it's just a lot of things that the Chiefs are doing that a lot of people are, commending and things like that. But at the same time too, though, are they going to really be that good going into next season? Because I think a lot of people are ready for Patrick Mahomes and whatever he's bringing. And I'm still worried about that ankle as well too. Nobody's saying anything about it, but that's a bad injury that's been re-injured about 3 or 4 times, and nobody's mentioned that. So pretty much I think when it comes down to it, the Chargers, if they can focus in on the plan, they should be the team to beat in the AFC West. But it's a 1 game at a time situation with the Chargers as well too. They open up opening day against the Miami Dolphins. That's going to be one of the better games of week 1 as well too. So there's going to be a lot to really dissect with the Chargers as we move along through these OTAs. Then we get to training camp, then we get to preseason, and then we get to the season. But from what I saw and the way that this team is committed to the process, I would say that the Chargers are very, very live to be a team that's to be reckoned with in the NFL this season. So we'll see what's up as we move forward, but I try to get you guys the best coverage there is and the best analysis on the Chargers this year. And we're going to just go from there. I'm trying to figure out what to name the little segment for them as well, too. So you guys can chime in and see exactly how you guys want to go about that as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. When I get back, we're going to be talking Blue Crew Daily and talking to MLB Tuesday Night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
What's up? What's up? We are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into Blue Crew Daily. We got the Dodgers snapping their 2-game losing streak with the comeback win at the Braves last night, 8-6. Top prospect Bobby Miller makes his first start of the year today. Bobby Miller is a guy that they're very excited about in La La Land, and he's been impressive from what I've seen in his minor league starts and everything like that. But you know what? We're in the major leagues now, and this is where the big boys play at. So all that good stuff that you were talking is, you know, all that good stuff that you was doing down on AAA and AA and rookie ball and all that stuff, it really doesn't matter anymore. We got to see what you can do here at the major league level because, you know, at the end of the day, the Dodgers have some of the best prospects in baseball. So it's not like a rare thing when they say, oh, a top prospect's coming, because the Dodgers got 5 more sitting at the farm that they might not have graded yet as a top player. But this team is in position to make a run for another World Series and make a run for the West title as well, too. Even though the Dodgers still got to win games and take their time getting there. I know now everybody's changed their tune. Now nobody loves the Padres anymore. Everybody's, well, the Dodgers are a machine, and so now they're just doing what the Dodgers do. No, but the Dodgers still have competition behind them with the Arizona Diamondbacks. You know what I mean? And the Padres are going to get to it. You know, by July, I'm gonna keep it real. By the time we get to the All-Star break, they'll probably turn it on. You know what I mean? They'll have their full pitching staff in place, and I think by that time they probably have already moved Tatis. I think that Tatis is a high priority to be traded, and they can make a monster move with Tatis right now and get themselves the pitching that they desperately need, and they can fill that void of what he is in their outfield as well too. But at the end of the day, he's just a really good bat. He's not a great fielder. So, you know, I just think that the best thing for them is to get that stank out the locker room. And I think that's actually why they've started to lose games, is because they don't like Tatis. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And Tatis is kind of a locker room killer at this point because he cheated. He lied. You know, you don't want to be around guys like that, you know, because if the Dodgers can kick out Jared Bauer, if they can kick out Trevor Bauer for allegations, you know what I mean, and something he got off on, then Tatis cheating and doing what he was doing is exactly how the Padres are thinking as well too. Your teammates will give up on you, and they won't be loud about it because they don't want to mess up the chemistry of the team. But when he gets traded, they'll have a whole bunch of shit to say. So I just feel like the Dodgers are playing Dodger baseball at this point. The Dodgers are always going to be a good summer team. You know what I mean? And the Dodgers are a team that understand how to win their division. They have to beat up on the division to win the division. And then when they play against these bad teams, they got to beat up on those bad teams. But the Dodgers really set themselves apart because when they play against the best teams in the NL, they always show up and they always show out. And that's exactly what they did yesterday. Gavin Stone, once again, he got a little hit again, but you know what? He's still learning. and he's still going through the motion. So it wasn't that big of a deal because his team had his back, just like they did in the last game. So, the Dodgers are a team that really knows what buttons to press. And the Dodgers, let's keep it real, they're very blessed to have Dave Roberts as the manager. Most managers would have probably fizzled out by this time. But all what Dave Roberts does is he'll lose in a very controversial way in the playoffs where it's like, oh, you're the best team, blah, 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 blah. Then come back and have an even better record the next year. You cannot replace guys like that because they're a dime a dozen in sports. So I think that the Dodgers this year are probably the best type of unit to win a championship because they don't have a lot of star power. They don't have the larger than life personalities this year. They don't have the goofballs around anymore either. Even though the goofballs were fun, they loosened up the Dodgers and pretty much helped this 10, 11, 12-year run of success, because winning your division for the last 11 out of 12 years is success. That's super success right there. A lot of teams would love to have that idea. And then for a 6-year run, everybody had to go through the Dodgers to get to their championship. Just look at it. Since 2016, since the Cubs won it, that you had to go through the Dodgers to win the World Series. So the Dodgers have really checked off all the boxes of great losers. And so this year, I think that it's the year to win. And I think the Dodgers have that in their mentality as well, too. And I think that they are very close to making a big move in the next month or so when it comes to an offensive star or some type of pitcher that's in the starting rotation. So there's a lot of good things that you see going on with the Dodgers right now. And I'm very, very excited to see exactly who the Dodgers move to bring in those high-end players that will be available in the coming weeks. So let's go ahead and check out. But real quick, Dodgers start their game today at 4:20. That doesn't mean you need to light up at 4:20. The Dodgers start at 4:20 today. The game is going to be on TBS as well too. And you guys already know the Dodgers are on the road, and this will be the second of their 3 games against Atlanta before they head on out to Tampa Bay, who has the best record in baseball. And that should be a series that's going to be very, very, very covered as well, too. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to MLB Tuesday Night. We have a full schedule tonight. MLB Tuesday Night. We have no double hitters, though, okay? Because you guys got to understand, we'll be having a lot of double hitters coming over the next few weeks and things like that. But today we do not have that. We have 15 games on the board. We got some pretty good spots today as well, but we got some what you would see on paper and say that they're one-sided games as well. So, that's just another day in the world of sports, in the world of sports betting. So let's go ahead and jump into our first game that I have on the docket, and that's going to be the Rangers, 29-18, going against the Pirates, 25-22, a team that was sitting pretty at the top of the National League, but everything is kind of came back together a little bit. So now this team is dealing with the good old come down point of what teams have to deal with. So the Pirates had a pretty decent weekend, against the Diamondbacks. They wound up losing actually 2 out of 3 of those, but they've won their last 3 out of 5. Okay. And they got a good win against Texas yesterday, 6-4. They started early. They got themselves a grand slam from Marcano. He was knocked in Hayes, Santana, and Sawinski. So pretty much they were able to get that lead 6-1, and they were able to just literally take over that game and pretty much find themselves up 6-4. The Rangers got some late runs, but that was about it. But when you look at this matchup tonight, you have the Rangers coming into this game playing some pretty good baseball. They're still number 1 in the AL West as well, too. But Houston has caught them. But they're doing pretty good, though. When you look at their last 5 games, they won their last 3 out of 5. But they just got done sweeping the Rockies over the weekend. So, that's something that it's kind of like a constellation prize in a sense. So the Rangers just took care of their business over the weekend. But this month, they've been a really good team. Let's not act like they have not been a good team this month, because they've won 12 games and they've actually went ahead and lost 7 of them. So, this team is playing really good baseball. They've been playing really good baseball all year, but they're handling their business. But this is a tough series because the Pirates have played the American League so well this year. So today they get another early start here, 3:35 Pacific time. Today, 6:35 back east. And I think it's 6:35 back east, because Pennsylvania will be Eastern Standard Time, because it's a little bit further than Ohio. So I wouldn't think it would be Central Time there. So you have a pretty good spot here. And then you got the Rangers really about to get ready for a big time series this weekend against Baltimore, but they need to take care of their business in this one. But the way I'm looking at this one today is I like the Pirates in this spot. I know the Pirates have been struggling. They haven't been playing good baseball, but they're another team that's won their last 3 out of 5 as well, too, when I'm looking at this. And after losing 2 in a row, they bounced back pretty nicely as well with that game last night. So I think today we can go ahead and take the home team as our dog of the day, the bet us dog of the day, and we can go ahead and take them with us to the bank, and we can go ahead and get ourselves this plus 140 and see if we can go ahead and cash that ticket. So our dog of the day today will be the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's going to be the home dog. And yesterday our home dog in the Reds cashed out as well too at plus 165. So let's go ahead and move forward to our next game, which is going to be a good old AL East rivalry game, and that's going to be between the Yankees and the Orioles. And this one is going to be in the Bronx. And you have the Orioles coming in here 31-16, Yankees 29-20 coming into the game, over under of 8 in this spot. You have Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees today, and then you have Kyle Bradish on the mound for the Orioles. Kyle Bradish did do well in his last game. He went 6 2/3. He struck out 5 and only gave up 1 earned run to the Angels. Now, he pitched very well against the Pirates before that as well, too. He only gave up 1 run and struck out 6 in that spot. So his last 2 games, he's been a really good pitcher. And he's been a really good pitcher all season. The only game that he had issues in was the game against the Boston Red Sox, where he gave up 7 runs on my birthday and only struck out 1. But since that point, he's only given up. He's given up that amount of runs in that last 4 games. So pretty much after giving up 7 runs, he's only given up 8 since that point. So he's doing pretty well. It's just that they don't get enough run support for him. But all in all, this is going to be a toughie because Garrett Cole is pitching lights out right now. His last few starts have been phenomenal. Struck out 10, and he only gave up 2 runs in these last 2 games after having after having a game that kind of fell apart in Tampa Bay. He started off with a pretty good start. They were up 6-0, and then he winds up giving up 6 runs in that spot. So that was probably his only throwaway game of the season. Other than that, he's been absolutely phenomenal this year, and he should be a top 3, top 5 guy for this year's Cy Young as well, too. I think today, though, what happens is I know that the Orioles have been able to open up series and been able to win series, opening these series up. I just think today that the Yankees take care of their business in the Bronx and get themselves a good little win over their arch rival, the Orioles. And I'm saying this because the Yankees got to really keep eating up the real estate that has been caused by them starting off the season in last place. Now the Yankees find themselves in 3rd place, and if the playoffs were to start today, they will be in the playoffs. And actually, the Yankees will be the division leader for the rest of the AL if they weren't in the AL East. That's how good the AL East has been this season. So let's move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Padres and the Nats. This is going to be a good spot because you have a Padres team that is trying to get back into the groove of things. 21-26, not looking too good at this point, but they got their best pitcher going today in Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish has been another victim of not being able to get run support. Yu Darvish did not have a good game last time out, but he didn't get any run support, like I keep saying. And this was a bad spot for him because he gave up the runs, but then he couldn't get the runs back. He gave 4 runs in the last game. They lost the game 4-3. Okay. And he struck out 6 over 5 1/3. Now, he played really good against Minnesota in the game prior to that, and he struck out 7. He gave up 2. Pitched very well against the Dodgers, only gave up 2 runs, struck out 6. And then he pitched very well against San Francisco, but they wound up not being in the decision for that one, and he gave up 4 runs that day. When you look at his numbers, they're really good, and he's probably the best option that they do have on the mound. Now, when it comes down to the Nats have a former Padre, and he was a big-time prospect for this team, and Gore. Mackenzie Gore is having a really good year. Even though he got a little dinged up in his last one, he gave up 4 runs, and they did wind up losing that game. He struck out 7 in that spot. And then against the Mets, he was ice cold. I actually wound up pitching 4 shutout innings in that spot. And this guy hasn't given up more than 4 runs in a game, and he's only had 2 occasions like that this year as well, too. So he's pitching to his potential at this point. And, you can't sleep on this Nationals team. In in 2 or 3 years, this team will, if they can keep these young guys intact, they'll be a team to be reckoned with. And they're doing everything the right way. So I think that at the end of the day, this will wind up being a very, very good game, a very good spot. But I have the Nats actually covering in this spot today because I feel like Gore is going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because, he had some dreams of being a big-time pitcher for San Diego. Then they sent him to the Washington Nationals out of nowhere for, big stars and things like that. So now you were playing with the worst team in baseball, when you got traded. Now you guys are not the worst team in baseball, but you guys are better than what you were last season. You know what I mean? So pretty much, everything will work out in the long run for the Nats, and I'm seeing that now, and I really do like this spot. It's going to be a very close game. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be it's a later game, which is going to be the Red Sox and the Angels. We talked about their game yesterday. It was kind of a tricky one because I had the Angels winning. I actually had a client play yesterday for the over. So pretty much I had people a little deterred about that, but it's okay. It happens, you run out of games sometimes, but it's not a great move when you do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to take one play, and what's the better play? The better play was the Angels winning the game and not double dipping too hard, trying to get other things to go into the game as well, too. So it happens sometimes, and it's always on a Monday too. So pretty much, it's something that you don't ever want to overthink. So tonight, I'm not going to overthink this thing. I think that this game does wind up going over tonight, unlike it did last night. And I think it just didn't go over last night because we had kind of a tense, 2 teams being a little tense. Boston fresh off the plane from Boston, and the Angels coming back around from a pretty good series over the weekend with the tough Twins team. So, a lot of, batters just weren't up to speed. But tonight, I think that we won't have that problem. So I do like the over 9.5 tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move from there. So with that, I'll be back. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk those tickets. I got the PrimeTime PK6 for MLB, got the late pick 4 for MLB, and then we got the game for Eastern Conference Finals bets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Your favorite subject, my favorite subject, and that is talking tickets. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic in hand, our first group, and that's going to be the PrimeTime PK6. We got a 52-1 ticket for this one. I got the Pirates today. As I said before, our dog of the day, plus 140 on the board. And then we got the Phillies today in their matchup against the Diamondbacks, and I feel like the Phillies should get my money back after what they did last night. So I'm going to double back and take them with the 1.5 today, plus 130. I think that this is an even better spot. Yesterday, I understand why they probably dropped that game, but today they're not getting out of it. They need to go ahead and just really destroy the Diamondbacks, and I know that they're fully capable of doing that. So I got them with the 1.5 today, plus 130. I got the Yankees today in a very expensive spot, somewhat in my opinion, minus 175. I never like to put over 160 on teams, but sometimes you got to do it so you can secure the win, and I think that's the right way to go. Even though we are dealing with the second best record in baseball today with the Orioles, I still think that the Yankees are hitting their stride right now. So I think the Yankees go ahead and take care of their business, get themselves a good win here today. And I already explained my situation with the Nats. I think the Nats will be big today. I think they'll play a very, very close game. And if they don't win, they'll only lose by a run. So I like the plus 1.5, and we're getting minus 135 for that one. And then we got the under 9 with the Tigers and the Royals yesterday. I know I had it on the ticket. We're going to try this thing again, and hopefully today it does come through. Matt Lorenzen finally got hit yesterday, and that's, pretty much the end of the story with that situation right there. So the under 9 with the Tigers and the Royals looks very, very good in my estimate. And then we finish up with the under 8 with the Mets and the Cubs, and one of the better games of the day as well, too. It's an under-the-radar matchup, but we always love the New York-Chicago matchups as well, too, especially when the boys from Queens show up on the north side of Chicago. So it should be a lot of fun tonight. And let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves the late pick 4. Late pick 4 is going to be 11-1. I got the under 8.5 with the Dodgers and the Braves game. I know that it's not that late, but it does start in the 7 o'clock hour back east. So 7:20 national game. Let's go ahead and throw it here with the late pick 4. Then we have the Marlins minus 125. They have a pretty good game going tonight against their buddies that they came into the league with, the Colorado Rockies. So we got the minus 125 in that spot tonight as well, too. And then we have the over 9.5 with the Red Sox and the Angels as well. This should be another really good spot for us. Hopefully they go ahead and take care of their business like they couldn't take care of us last night. And it was the premium. So that's what's really pissing me off, is because they literally scored 3 runs. I thought that this was going to be 10 runs by the time we got to the 5th inning. But, hey, that's baseball for you sometimes. And then we got the Mariners nightcap, minus 1.5, minus 110. Always sometimes too good to be true, though, because the A's, even though they're really bad, they find out the darndest ways to win games. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. And then I don't have a lot for the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. I'm very disappointed, to be honest with you, with the way that the NBA has went here in the conference finals as well. Every one of us wanted to make sure that these series were competitive. Everybody would have loved to talk Lakers Nuggets 2-2 and have some good theater for that. And everybody would have loved to have some good theater for this one as well, too. But it's just not there. These teams that are winning the series, they've taken full advantage of the moment and they're seizing the opportunity to get to the NBA Finals. So that means that we're gearing up for a great NBA Finals, in my opinion. Now, when it comes down to these Game 4 bets, I like the under 217 tonight with this game. I feel like defense is going to be at an absolute premium tonight, and I'm telling you, the Heat are going to really have to put their whole effort into this one if they really want to go ahead and sweep this out. And for them, it's best to sweep this series out. You don't want to take any more. You don't want to spend any more time with Boston. You don't want to give them the idea that they're back in this series. So I would say you jump all over the Heat, but don't put your whole heart into it. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and see how the game goes and move from there. Now, in the first half, I have the Heat actually covering that portion and being up at that point. But I think Boston actually starts this game off with the lead, and I think that they end the first quarter with the lead as well, too. So that's going to be our 3 tickets for the Game 4 bets tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in to the show today. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk some more. I'll be on Jeff's show as well, too, for a little bit in the morning, the midday report that starts at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, so you guys make sure to tune in for that. And I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock for this show, or 12:30. But I'm going to try to shoot for 12:30 tomorrow for this show because I like this time right here that we got in for it. So with that, I want to thank you guys one more time for tuning in today. And once again, there is no me without you. And as I love to say, the movement is moving. Bet with your head, not with your heart. And this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And Tyler, I'm sorry, Connor, have a good night as well, too, brother. Thank you so much for watching the show today as well, too. And hopefully we'll have you back with us tomorrow morning when it's me and Jeff. So thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure that you retweet and share the show as well, too, sir. All right, so that's it, and that's all, and we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.